One of the most important documents while entering into a real estate transaction is the title deed. It can be said that the title deed is the axis around which the real estate transaction revolves. It is of utmost importance that the title deed should be complete and should not contain any discrepancies. In Indian parlance, the laws are clear, but there are state-wise many legislations whose knowledge can be important in order to find out whether the title deed is free from any discrepancy or not. The central legislation that governs the property transfers in India is the Transfer of Property Act 1882. It clearly, you can also buy a bare act from the market if you want to get knowledge about this particular law. It clearly states that any sale without consideration is a void document. It gives meaning for all the important terminologies like sale, mortgage, foreclosure, gift, conditional transfer, transfer by ostensible owner, on the basis of which the Benami Transaction Act has been made. Then joint transfer, fraudulent transfer, lease, notice for the tenant eviction, and so on. Apart from the Transfer of Property Act, there are state-wise land revenue codes that gives detailed information about how the real estate transaction will take place in that particular state. Hence, whenever you are buying a property in any particular state or country, you should know the rules, regulations and laws with regard to that transaction, as real estate transactions usually varies from lakhs to crores. Putting that much money on stake without the know-how of the related law can prove to be fatal. Now, what to visualize and analyze while deciding to buy a property? First, the buyer should try to analyze the conduct of the seller. Check whether the seller is trying to hide anything or clearly disclosing all the facts about the property without any ambiguities. Never decide to buy any property without visiting the location personally. Check when the possession will be transferred. Is it immediate or after some days, months or years? If the possession is not immediate, what proof the seller is having that the possession will be transferred as per the commitment, for example the builder buyer agreement or the allotment letter. If the property is on GPA or SPA, like general power of attorney or special power of attorney, one should thoroughly check the previous chain of papers for at least last 30 years, whether the GPA is registered or not, whether the will attached or not, further whether the will is registered or not, what all rights have been transferred along with GPA. Keep in mind to check if this transfer by way of GPA is barred by any government notification, like in case of EWS, that is economically weaker section, such transfer is barred. Check for the receipts of property tax paid. The same can also be checked on respective property tax portals. Check whether the property is rented out, and if the property is being bought just to earn rental income from an already present tenant, one should clearly and thoroughly check the last rental payments made by the tenant and the terms of lease agreement. One should ensure that the property is not being sold just because an unauthorized tenant had trespassed and captured the property. Engage a legal practitioner if the property is located at places having altogether different kind of laws, like in Goa. In Goa, even the distant relative from the third generation can claim the right on the property. Hence, beware while buying any such property. Just go through the land laws. Correct title deed can also be got from sub-registrar office where the land records are maintained. Check whether the property is satisfactorily mutated to the name of the seller. Check the utility bills like electricity and water bills to be on the name of the seller. And be sure, never ever make any transaction in cash without any proof of that transaction. It will be bound to be drowned. Last but not the least, keep an eye on changing laws and regulations, government notifications, court orders with respect to real estate transactions. Keep your moral high, keep your temper high. No, don't keep your temper high. Real estate can prove to be a very good investment, keeping in point that you are doing it with your eyes wide open. Thank you.